Hello, my name is Martina Niklis. I'm from Germany and I'm very glad that I have a guest for today to talk to. And this guest is Patricio Diaz. And yeah, I want to start by just say hello, Patricio.
Hello, Martina.
We met before physical last year in Mallorca. We had I think no, it was one training together, and the most time we were lying on the ground and screaming or do some crazy stuff. but I but I also remember that we had some really good talks together, really deep talks, and yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm glad that we have this possibility to talk again. And we were communicating on WhatsApp about what we could talk in this next 50 minutes together. And uh, you didn't know and I didn't know, so we both don't know. But I am a control freak, so I have prepared something. I have prepared only the jump in. So I want to, and I have prepared some questions to warm up a little bit. And I want to ask you if you are if you have a yes to that little game of questions and answers.
I have a yes.
Thank you. And if you would have said no, then I wouldn't know what to do now. But you said yes, so the game goes like that. I have prepared 10 questions, and my idea is that you answer them very fast. Those questions are
Okay.
not very dangerous. I think it's only one dangerous question. It's the number 10. I prepare you. And the others
I'm glad it's not number one.
are. So that makes perhaps your fear level a little bit raise.
I'm already feeling afraid.
And those are questions that you can answer with less words, not many, only one sentence, easy questions. Okay, let's start. Where were you born, Patricio?
I was born in Madrid, Spain.
Mm-hmm. Madrid. Oh, wow. Okay. And where do you live now?
And I live in Staten Island, New York City.
How old were you when you left Madrid for the first time? Or Spain, let's say
Um,
Spain.
yeah, I was 18, 19 when I left Madrid, not for New York, but
Yeah, yeah. Okay. What is your first and most important bright principle?
evolution.
Thank you. Evolution. Who is in the house with you right now? Except the
Right
turkey.
now,
I know there's a turkey with
there
you,
is
but
there
who
is
else?
a turkey being cooked in the kitchen, and my son. My
Your,
son is with me.
your son.
Yeah.
Great. What percentage of joy do you feel right now?
80%.
Wow. 18 or 80?
80, 80.
80. Right. What is music?
Music is the riddle that humanity has given itself for the next step in evolution.
Oh. For the next step in
Evolution.
evolution. What is the first thing that you remember when you were a child?
The first thing that that comes to my mind is being home with family and friends. My house was very often filled with people, and I guess also my memory, I have a lot of memories about food. My mother was an amazing cook, and she spent half her life cooking and the other half shopping, you know, finding ways to buy things that were inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
So she would go, you know, like all over Madrid, you know, to find things that she could buy, you know, and the house was always filled with smells of, you know, amazing food. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I love that question.
Question number 9. Perhaps it's also a little bit dangerous question.
Okay. I accept it.
What do you not want to talk to me about at all?
Yeah, I you know, I have secrets. I guess I wouldn't want to talk about sexuality. Yeah, when I say that, or yeah, I don't want to talk about COVID. You know, I wouldn't want to talk about COVID. I wouldn't want to talk about politics, American politics. Or, you know, European. I mean, I think they are very, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that more or less that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you that you answered that question. I think that was well, it was a hard question, and while you were answering that, I I I felt joy because you showed yourself vulnerable and
Mm,
and open, and I want to thank you. And yeah,
mm,
I I find that very brave to answer that.
mm.
The last question. What is your current partner's biggest complaint about you?
Yeah, I guess that I don't spend enough time with him. You know,
Mhm.
and right now I have a partner is a man,
Mhm.
and yeah, and his complaint is that I don't have enough time for him.
Mm.
But he's also very afraid about COVID, so it's a yes, that is a, you know,
We don't talk about COVID.
we don't, and I'm not going to talk about that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Patricio. I didn't know. I was writing those questions half hour before we met, and I was really interested. I was really curious what you would answer,
Mhm. Yeah.
and I'm really
Yeah, thank you for the
yeah.
questions.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
glad. I want to jump in because what you said was that you left Spain when you were about 18 or 19 years old.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, since I was very, very little, I mean, and I think it was a very cultural thing, in Spain that there is a cultural complex of inferiority, in Spain, or
what does
or
what
it
does that
used to be.
what does that mean? Sorry, what does it mean?
That yeah, that that we didn't have. I mean, that you had to go out if you really wanted to. You had to go out of Spain if you really wanted to become a professional and even respected in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
That only people that had been away, were respected in Spain. And especially, I was a musician. I had studied first violin and then viola, and when I was 18, I was almost a professional. I was playing with the radio, television, orchestra in Spain, and in the professional world, I immediately noticed that the people that were really respected were the people that had been in studying in England or in Germany or
Mm-hmm.
in the United States, and all the big, teachers, the conductors, were people that were either Spanish or foreigners that were coming to Spain. So to me, it became clear that, I have to go, because it's just like, if not, I mean, I saw the competition, the mediocrity in the world. It's a very feudal world, a very medieval, like, there were the heads of the families, the people that controlled, the who would get a job or who wouldn't, or who played where,
Mm-hmm.
and Madrid was, at that time, was a small enough world that everybody kind of knew each other. It's a small world, a small musical world.
Really, yeah. I,
It has changed a lot. It has changed a lot since I left.
and you said
It's,
that
I mean,
you learned to play the violin.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it
But first violin and then viola. Yeah.
but how, would it have been the same when you were, if you would play guitar, for example, because, or was it
Well, guitar, yeah, guitar was more, actually a bigger world, and Spain was like one of the strengths was guitar. But even guitar, I mean, I think it was. That's why it wasn't in the music world. It was a very cultural uh, inferiority complex. That is just like, we are not good enough. And that was bred into everybody. You are not good enough. Yeah, and
so when
and
you
and
when you left Spain with 18 or 19 years, did you
Mhm.
what was your plan? Where did you go, and what was
It
your
was
plan then?
crazy. It was crazy. I mean, because it was more like I didn't know where to go, but I wanted to go.
You
So I
didn't
didn't
know, you
know. I
didn't
mean,
know
like,
where
like
to go.
who,
Okay, sorry.
and I didn't know. I didn't know. I mean, I wanted to. It had to be, to Northern Europe. It had to be France, Germany, England. That were the big musical centers.
Yeah.
And I. I mean, and it was difficult to find a place where, and I was 18, so I hadn't finished my career in Spain. I hadn't finished, immediately, because I was a good player, immediately I got to work, so I was teaching, I was playing, and then but I didn't have a title. And in Europe, this thing is big, without the title, you cannot go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I found a teacher, a mystic, a very, he was a violinist and half violinist, half mystic. And he had kind of his own school in Lyon, France.
Okay.
And it was like, and I was very attracted to mysticism, because that was half of my life was music, and half of my life was looking for meaning in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very attracted to communities. I had been, so there was a search that was parallel, and I think it still is true for me, but so there was this teacher in Lyon that had his own school and a method. He had studied with a Japanese teacher that was very famous, and this Japanese teacher had been really breaking all the rules about how to learn to play the violin.
Mm-hmm.
And this Japanese teacher, Suzuki, had been studying in Germany actually, but then he created his own whole school in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And very contrary to all the European tradition,
Mm-hmm.
and also very mystic. Learning to play the violin was not about learning to play the violin; was about about learning to play yourself. It was about really mastering the discipline of your soul, of your body, of your heart, of your mind.
Wow.
So when I got to Lyon, that was, he would be teaching, this teacher was teaching 15 hours a day. He was teaching since 7 in the morning. And so my deal with him was that I would live in his apartment. I would take care of the son that was totally wild, crazy, because the parents were not available. So I would take care of the son, and then he would, he would teach me.
But you're not talking about the Japanese teacher. You're talking about French teacher.
The student of the Japanese teacher.
Yeah, the student of this.
The student. Yeah, his
Yes,
name was
okay.
Christophe Bossois.
Christophe Bossois.
Yes.
I write it up.
So yes, you can. I'm curious what happened with him. So anyway, it was like crazy. Like totally crazy. It was about discipline and being the whole day practicing. I would assist him in his lessons, and then I would be practicing cooking for the son. He was like totally so wild. He was like 3 years old, and it was impossible. And
wait. I want to know more about that.
Yeah.
What you said, because I also play classical guitar.
Yes, I know you play classical guitar. That's right.
Yes, and I'm interested to hear more about what is about this discipline, because when you went to Lyon, you already was a professional musician.
Yes. Okay, so I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you about it. So the same thing, when our classes were about finding the pure, perfect sound in each note. So it was about, like finding, so we would be hours just finding the beginning of the note.
Wow.
Just, there was like these exercises that were called tonalizing, tonalizing, or like finding the tone of the sound. So he had like a whole, the Suzuki, the Japanese teacher, had compiled a collection of pieces. So you would go through every piece, and they had created the exercise for each piece, very precise, like the preparatory exercises, and everything was, Japanese precision.
Mm-hmm.
very, like a machine, like finding each piece and, working on one measure and like making it totally, that the sound that is beautiful, that the,
Hmm.
it was like a religious experience,
Wow.
like, like, but religious in the, in the good sense, religious as transcendent, but also religious as dogmatic, so it had the both sides.
Yeah, because
And
when you use that word discipline, for me,
yeah,
discipline has the first thing that comes into my mind is has to do with control, with dogmatics, with
yes,
mind, with
yes,
thinking. And now you
yeah,
you said transcendent and religious, and
yeah,
that
and
opens
I
in
mean,
my, yeah, opens other worlds in my head, and I don't
yeah,
quite understand what it really was.
yeah. No, it's I mean, it's actually, it's like the two sides of the same reality,
Hmm.
because yeah, this is like finding the discipline is so, is finding this space in you where you are totally centered, and you
Hmm.
don't give your center to anything, it's just about being in the moment
Hmm.
with the sound, with the instrument,
Hmm.
and there is nothing but the result of what you can produce with your soul and with your mind and with your body.
Wow.
It's just like having, in it's like tuning your body, organizing your physical body, your mental body. It's about what do you think and when and in what sequence. It's about your emotions, like really uh, channeling what you want to say through the sound. So it's about this discipline,
Hmm.
and at the same time, this is crazy. It's totally crazy because uh, there is there is a hierarchical aspect to this discipline. That you really end up, because there is this relationship with the teacher, and you end up falling into, you cannot grow any more of what the teacher is. You cannot surpass the teacher's
Hmm.
um, possibilities, you know so it continuously creates this relationship where you have to keep being the student, and that creates a very unhealthy relationship.
Hmm. Hmm. I, I also have this experience when I make music, when I play guitar, this experience of being centered and of being completely in the here and now. And
Yeah.
this is not a decision for me. It is not that I decide now I make music and I want to make that by being in the here and now.
Mm,
That's not it. For me, it is like if the music would make that decision for me,
mm, mhm.
or the instrument would make that decision for me, or it just happens that I'm in the here and now. And it is so strong that um, I don't notice it when I'm playing the music. I don't notice that I'm in the here and now, but
Yeah,
when
yeah,
I'm ready, when I'm done, when I'm finished, i I know I was there, I was in the here and now.
yeah, yeah.
how, how
Mm.
is it with you?
Yeah, for me, what, and because I play viola, to me it became very clear, after that strong experience. I was with him for a year and a half,
Hmm.
and then I realized, this. this doesn't make any sense. And for me, it became clear that being in the here and now is a relational space. For me, it was like, I need to invent a way to add relationship to the work with the instrument. It's not about me, but it's the result that I create with others. And I think that comes from being, from playing an instrument that is basically an ensemble instrument, an instrument that needs other instruments.
Yeah.
I can play by myself, but when it really makes sense is when I play with others.
Mm-hmm. And did it had to do with the thing that you said before, this hierarchy, this hierarchical
Yes. Relationship.
relationship, that you decided
Yeah.
that it's time to do the next step?
Yes. Yes, I totally. I mean, one day I freaked out totally. I took a train. I got all my things. I don't remember if I said goodbye. I just took all my things. I got in a train, and I went back to Madrid, and I said, this doesn't make any sense. And it was exactly this about hierarchy. It's like this is not the way to learn. This is not the way I can transform. And yeah, and from there, I started making experiments, like, for example, to teach children in groups, or to be with two teachers or three teachers at the same time instead of one teacher.
Okay,
There is no. Go ahead.
Let me stay for 1 second, because I find that very interesting, because you said that there came the point came when you noticed that you cannot go on in this situation, and because it was of that hierarchy thing. But when you came into his house, you were the student and he was the teacher, and there was a distance between your level of playing, you hear, and his level of playing, and then you were the student and you became better and better. And I understood it like, when there was not so much difference between your level and his level, it started to become difficult. Did I understand that right or not?
Yeah. I mean, in a way that it was an impossible relationship. In a way, I was not going to ever get there, because part of the relationship was to demonstrate to me why I couldn't. A part of the relationship was to keep establishing this dynamic of teacher and student.
Did you ever talk about that with him? Did you ever talk about that? No.
I didn't have the words then. I mean, in my consciousness, like, for me, it's like I didn't even know. I mean, I knew that it was not working, that was very crazy, that he was a little crazy, that the son was crazy, that the wife and him had a very strange relationship. It didn't, the whole thing is just like, this is not working, and yeah. And I didn't have the words then.
And because you said that you like escaping out of this situation, going by train back to Madrid, and
yes,
that sounds like an escape. Like, if somebody would have asked you why are you leaving Lyon, you probably didn't really know why, because he was a great teacher. But
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, and this is
Yeah.
no. I mean, I mean, it's important. I mean, it's important, and when you say this, because this is part of the pattern of my life, you know, that to withdraw from situations in that way, you know, I would get myself into this situation, and then it's like, you know, I have to leave, and then, you know, and that is being a big part of my work with myself, you know, to
Mhm.
to connect with this capability of in me of naming, you know, what's happening, and
Mhm.
keep the relationship, and coming back, and saying what I needed, and recognizing what was the need in me, and what was I wanting, you know, and yeah, and I've used this because it's been a big force in my life, you know, the possibility to leave,
Yeah.
you know, that has given me a lot, you know, I can leave and go somewhere else, you know,
Mhm.
and I left, and I came back to Madrid, and I left, and I went to London, and I
Mhm.
left, and I came back to Madrid, and then I went to Russia to study,
Mhm.
you know, and I left Russia in the same way, you know, so that's been part of the work that, you know, that I've been doing with myself, and it had some wisdom. It's again, you know,
Mhm.
both, you know, the wisdom of this is not working, and it's taking me somewhere else, and at the same time the wisdom of, yeah, this is not working, and I have this pattern in me that is part of that doesn't make it work, you know.
Mhm. Mhm. How old were you when you noticed that this is a pattern?
I mean, I knew that I had a very dramatic life because I had always these things of, you know, going places and leaving, or getting together with somebody and leaving,
Mhm.
you know. So, but seeing it as a pattern, I think when I got married when I came to New York because I met an amazing woman, Anna, and, uh, and it was with her that I started noticing the pattern, because I mean she was really a very evolved human being,
Mhm.
and and she held the space, you know. I mean, she was really, you know, so centered in many ways that I couldn't blame her,
Mhm.
like I had been blaming situations and teachers and circumstances, you
Mhm.
know. But when I was with her, then it was like, no, you know, like she would, I mean, she would be so loving at the same time that centered, you know,
Mhm.
not giving her center away. That that is when I really started looking at myself in a different way. Yeah.
Mhm. I'm curious to understand or to know if you think that that was a special quality that women bring into a relationship that changed something in you, or gave you another view on the on your life and on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I think it's about the feminine, and for me, meeting my wife. She was from Spain, but she was the one living in New York City. Meeting my wife was because my experience with also the culturally, you know, culturally with women in Spain was, my experience was that women were very manipulative, and,
Mhm.
you know, playing victim, and I mean that was, you know, my mother, you know, my sister, um, you know, the women that I had gotten together with. And when I met Anna, you know, she really had a different quality. She really took responsibility for herself in ways that I had never seen anybody before.
Mhm.
I really, I mean, when I first met her, it's just like, you know, this thing that, you know, you recognize the matrix in somebody. It was like, to me, it was like, like I couldn't believe it, that the things that she would say, um, I met her because I was in, I at the moment that I was in a fight with another woman, so I was playing low drama with another woman that was a friend of mine, a violinist. And Anna was a friend of hers also, so I met her. We were on a tour with an orchestra, and Anna was sneaking in with my friend in the hotels. And, first I thought, oh my God, she's so brave, and so, and then, I'm fighting with my friend, and here comes my Anna, without taking sides, really listening, really, in a light way, really telling me, are you crazy? You are saying, because I'm blaming her, like, are you listening to what you are saying? So she's brave enough to tell me she doesn't know anything about me, and she's telling me, she's giving me feedback, she's creating the space, and at the same time, there is a loving quality about, you can do, you can really have a good relationship with people, and you can, anyway. So it was breathtaking. I was like, this woman is from another planet. And and she was, I mean, she had been living in a community here in New York, and and she had been working on on her being responsible, being responsible for her own feelings at every level, physically, sexually, emotionally. So that translated into every interaction with her. And that's when I started noticing my own patterns, of withdrawal, of revenge, of, yeah. I mean, I guess, my gremlin. She was amazing. She was amazing because she didn't. I mean, I played all the games with her, and she was unhookable, totally unhookable,
What a
and
great
it was
person.
amazing. I mean, it was amazing, and she kept this loving connection with me all the time. She died 5 years ago of cancer, and I mean, I can tell so many stories about her, that, and not only me, all the people that knew her, and that it was really, I mean, one of the uh, teachers in my life, one of the, you know, yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
I don't know what to say right now. It's
No, it's just, I mean, to me, and it gives me a lot of joy thinking about her, and
yeah.
also sadness, because I mean, it's just it, that you find what you need, it's really amazing how the universe gives you your next step. We were talking about evolution is my bright principle, the first one in the series of my bright principles. And yeah, and to me, meeting her was totally an evolutionary connection. And she was half German.
Really, half Spain and half German.
Half Spanish, half German.
Was he a
I mean,
musician?
her,
A musician?
her mother her mother was German. She all brothers and sisters. There were 9 brothers and sisters, and 5 of them are professional singers, and one is a pianist. And she was the black sheep of the family. She, I mean, she was not like, I mean, she anyway, I mean, I think that she was a good musician, but it was like she was not at the level of the other brothers and sisters. So it was her own karma also with the family.
We only have some minutes left, Patricio.
Okay.
This talk was like a roller coaster for me. It was a little bit like, for me, like making music, because it I didn't think about so much what we will talk next, and what will be the next sentence, and how will it take us, and I appreciate that very much. It was a new experience for me to talk to talk with someone like that is new experience for me, because I always there's a part in me that always likes to control the things. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm really glad.
I feel very glad also.
And
I think
yes,
go ahead. For me, it's like when I tell this story, when I tell the story, part of the stories of my life, I mean, it's always like I find new connections every time that I get the opportunity to talk about it, and I was finding, with your questions and with the roller coaster also, that I felt, the connection, my internal connections, and again, this perspective from now of what my life has been.
And there would be so much more that we could talk about. But there is one thing that I'm really interested in, and I want to ask you for the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I know that it is Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is a big thing in the States. In Germany, it is not. But and you told me before we were talking that you are cooking a big turkey.
Yes.
I'm really.
I'll send you a picture.
Yes, send me a picture. I'm really interested, because I never heard that you could cook that, because I think you have to make that in the oven. Why?
Yeah, yes, actually, it's in the oven. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because I was it's in the oven, so I was preparing all the the filling and
it's filled. Okay, what did you put in? What did you put in the turkey? What is it?
The filling, I put herbs, I put prunes, I put pine nuts, I put apples and lemons.
Oh, cool! I want to come and eat with you. And what else will be on the table tonight?
So it's just there's going to be mashed potatoes, there's going to be yams, which is like kind of a sweet potato.
Okay.
That you put like some sugar and then you put it in the oven, so it's like sweet.
And you eat it with meat, with a turkey?
Yeah. You and there is like cranberry sauce, so there is like you eat like a mix of salty and sweet things,
Okay. So that you have the full, so that you have something of everything, because it's
exactly. It's the turkey, cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, yams, spinach, creamy spinach.
Wow.
Bread, and then there are the pumpkin pie.
For dessert, the pumpkin pie for dessert, or together with the meat. The pumpkin.
No, for dessert after.
For dessert. And who is all that? Do you do that or?
I do that, and my friends are bringing some of the side dishes. So I'm mostly the turkey, and my friends are bringing the dessert and a salad. You have a big salad with pomegranate. So it's a big meal. We start eating at 3 p.m. and we finish 5 hours later.
Great. Cool, very cool. Yes, I will think on you tomorrow morning, because it's 8 p.m. So it will be my morning when you are full.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
please, could you please send me a picture of that turkey? I would like to.
I will. I
Oh, cool.
promise.
Okay.
I
Patricio,
promise.
I want to, yeah, thank you very much. It was really a big pleasure for me, and I'm glad and I'm happy, and I want to wish you a wonderful day, and I hope we, yeah,
Thank
meet
you so
soon.
much, and thank you.
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah.